Hi, I'm Greg Micklig. New Jersey credit unions believe that all citizens need to understand the important financial matters that affect their lives. That's why we're proud to support the programming produced by the Caucus Educational Corporation and their partners in public television.
This special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center. Funding has been provided by Barnabas Health, St. Peter's University, the Jesuit University of New Jersey, United Water, making the planet sustainable is the best job on Earth, Qualcare Inc., a local managed care company covering 750,000 New Jersey residents, New Jersey's credit unions, banking you can trust, Johnson & Johnson, and by the law firm of Gibbons PC. Promotional support provided by the Star Ledger, powering NJ.com, and by the New Jersey Business and Industry Association and its monthly magazine, New Jersey Business.
This is One-on-One.
When you first heard that they were doing Charlie Rose and Gayle King, didn't you go, what?
People like laughing at others, so I don't mind if the other is me.
See, you go right into the character. That's what it is.
I'm bringing families together a half an hour each week. Man, I'm doing something special.
And so I do feel successful.
Old age is one big game of surprise. I will douse myself. I will set myself on fire.
I will bring the marshmallows.
I am keeping a better house than most college students, and no one is threatening to lock them away.
Except you do have jars of flammable liquid at every entrance and exit. There are some really primal instincts in children, and one of them is if you think your mother is lying on the ground in agony, unable to call for help, you kind of want to do something about it.
I understand that. Fight the instinct.
That was the great Estelle Parsons, and the gentleman in that scene with her from The Velocity of Autumn is Stephen Spinella, and he's here with us, and I want to thank you for joining us. The Velocity of Autumn playing at the Booth Theater at 225 West 45th Street. Set up the play, and then talk about Estelle Parsons.
She is, she's 79, she's...
But 87 in real life?
She's 87 in real life, yeah. She is a woman who is starting to experience dementia, and her two of her kids are trying to get her to move into a nursing home, kind of pressuring her, and so she fills the house with Molotov cocktails, and she's going to blow the place up, and they call her son, who's been estranged for 25 years.
That's you.
That's me, to come back and talk her out of it. And I climbed the tree in the front of the house, in the front of the brownstone in Park Slope. I climbed the tree in front and climb in through the front window, and that's the beginning of the play.
So you're in Brooklyn?
Yeah, we're in Brooklyn, yeah.
You're in Brooklyn. You haven't seen her in 25 years. And what was your relationship like back in... before the 25 years started?
You know, that's part of the story of the play,
yeah.
Is that the unfolding of that. And they were two people who were sort of, in some ways, very much alike. They were both, you know, he was her kid. He was the one that she felt like she could have the most influence on. And then he sort of feels the pressure of that over a number of years and just gets out to become his own kind of person, and he leaves for a very, very long time. He stops communicating with them. He cuts himself off completely from the family.
Sounds like a lot of families.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
It sounds like a lot of families who struggle with a whole range of issues having to do with how to come to terms with an older parent, whether they've been connected for those 25 years or not. But what do you do? Right.
Well, I mean, that's a lot of what the play is about.
That's what I mean.
You know, is you know, we're in this situation now where, you know, we used to take care of our parents in a different way, and now we move them into nursing homes, or we deal with the very difficult problem of having them in our own home, and then with problems like dementia, that makes that almost undoable. And the play touches on that. It's not a polemic about that. It's one of the issues. It sort of mines the issue that's happening in the culture right now to tell the story of these two particular people. And
but it's a comedy.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
So how? It's
well, you know, I mean,
It is.
She's, you know, I mean, Estelle rightly describes herself as a tragic comedian, and you think of the stuff that she's done, like Bonnie and Clyde. It's like these incredibly funny characters in these incredibly tragic situations, and this is sort of a continuation of that. And she's hilariously funny and incredibly moving. I mean,
what's it like to work with her?
She suffers no fools. She doesn't like to shilly-shally around anything. She tells you what she thinks, and you work from there. And so it's like, you know, it's a constant challenge. It's my way of working has always been, you know, based on what the text is telling me to do, and she's much more intuitive. She's, you know, she'll say, I don't think that this is this. And I'll say, well, but it says that right there. I don't think this is this. And then you try it and you see that the play can handle that kind of twist to the side. And it makes it more interesting. She's done that a number of times.
Is it true that she wanted you to play this role?
Yeah,
How did she know who you were and that you were the one?
You know that.
No, really. How did she say that guy want that guy?
I don't know. I mean, I never asked. I never had that conversation. I never had that conversation with her, and I don't know what her actual thinking was. I mean, I imagine that the guy who was in Angels in America, the character is gay. I think that she thought of along those lines. You know, where the physical description matches, and we'd never met. We'd never worked together, obviously, and so she asked for me, and I read the play and really liked it, and was incredibly flattered she asked for me.
To what degree do you draw on any of your own personal life? We talk to actors, terrific performers, actors all the time here, who will often say that a part of their lives they can't help but bring into the role.
Well, it all comes from you. I mean,
does it?
There's nobody else.
Because you said you work off the text.
There's nobody else that it comes from, and you take what's in the text, and you make that you make that your own, and the character adjustments, you make those your own too. I mean, it's like it's my version of this character. It's me. That's who I am. That's what I'm saying as an artist, is the presentation of this character that I give, and it comes from me. There's nowhere else for it to come from. And so a certain amount of my own personal life comes in, but it's not, I don't do like emotional recalls on stage. I try to live in the moment of what is happening there from me. And so, you know, I think about when I have to, she's my mom, and I have to talk to my mom on stage. And what does that mean to me, to talk to my mom? What is that? What is the organic event for me to be talking to my mom? And it's not Steve's mom,
right.
It's Chris's mom, but it's still my mom, and it's what mom means to me that I'm doing, that I live through every night with Estelle, who becomes Chris's mom, my mom, because I'm playing Chris.
What a fascinating process. Before I let you out, I have to ask you this. Even though it's so personal to each actor, do you ask yourself the question, what do I want each audience member who comes to see this play walk away with? Do you ask yourself that?
I don't. I don't.
It's up to them?
It's up to them, yeah. I don't want to manipulate anything. I want to live in the world and have the experience of living in the world with the other actor that I'm working with. And that's what Estelle is so great about, is every night it's different, and every night she brings something completely fresh and spontaneous to it. And that's what I play with and try to give to her as much as she gives to me.
You mind if I plug again?
No, go ahead. Okay.
It is Stephen Spinella is playing opposite of Estelle Parsons, and they are in The Velocity of Autumn, playing at the Booth Theater at 225 West 45th Street. And we encourage folks to get out and check it out and walk away with whatever message they choose to. Thank you very much, Stephen.
Sure.
Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Stay right there. We'll be back from the WNET Tisch Studio right after this in Lincoln Center. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Appreciate it.
If you would like more information on this program, or if you'd like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Visit us online at oneonone.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, PhD, and follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
Jean-Louis Chaussade is CEO of Suez Environnement Company, and we are pleased to have you with us here in New York City at Lincoln Center. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
We're here to talk about some very important issues, water and solid waste, put them together, and we've got some complicated issues. Jean-Louis, let me ask you this. And by the way, your colleagues connected to United Water that we know very well and underwrite public broadcasting in the state, we've talked to them a lot about water issues. Let's put this in context. What is the problem as it relates to water, solid waste, and not dealing with the infrastructure problems that we have?
Well, I think that when you look in the history of a country like United States, but it's the same everywhere, first you start to take care of water network, water installations, water treatment. Then you go to sanitations, and after that to solid waste. The problem is that with a growing population living in cities, with global warming, we like it or not, producing event of unknown magnitudes. If you don't take care of your infrastructures, if you don't pay attention to the quality of the service you should provide, then you will be in trouble.
And Suez does this all over. This is your business.
Yes.
And technology is advanced in many ways dramatically over the last 15, 20 years to allow us to do what?
Well, for example, to bring additional water where you don't have it. For example, desalinations. For example, reuse. For example, systems of leak detections, which permit you to reduce the amount of water lost in the system and therefore to provide better quality service to your people. You have many, many different technologies, and the technology is speeding up. More and more technology. Smart metering, it means that you can...
Smart metering?
Yes, it means that in many countries now, in Europe, for example, but it will come in the States, you have the capacity to nearly indirect to have the reading of your meters and to know your consumption, your daily consumptions, your excess of daily consumptions, or the absence of consumption. For example, you leave somebody at home, and you can read on your phone, on your cell phone, that there is absolutely no consumption. What are you going to think? Something is happening. He's out, he's sick, whatsoever. These kind of services are the services that you will see coming in everywhere tomorrow in cities.
Suez is a global company, and you deal with this, as I said, all over the world. But United Water, you know, which is right here in the United States, we happen to know that, interesting, in Bayonne, New Jersey, we're in the heart of New York City at Lincoln Center, but Bayonne is not too far away over in Jersey. There's a public-private partnership. It's called United Water Solution, and they're trying to modernize the infrastructure there.
Yes.
It's an interesting case study, if you will, as to what could be done in terms of doing what? I mean, it's helping that community do things that, if they weren't doing it, they'd be losing more water. There'd be all kinds of problems. But the Bayonne situation should be everywhere, right?
The Bayonne situation is a very interesting one, because the city, there are two problems to solve at the same time. One, an excess of debt. So the question mark was, how can I reduce my debt? Second, I need to improve my service on a long term. Of course, the quality of the water network and the quality of the water and the quality of the service can be provided to the customers.
And, excuse me for interrupting, and aging infrastructure.
Of course. So when you combine all that, the solution which had been, I should say, put in place, it's a kind of what we call PPP. It's a private-public partnership. I mean, you have somebody, in this case a fund, KKR, he decides to, if I can say, lend the money. And the city get the money. But in the meantime, they sign an agreement with us in order to make sure that they will maintain for 40 years the quality of the service. And KKR also is happy to work with us. Why? Because he knows that any additional investment he will have to do in the future, this investment will be done at the I should say, the most appropriate cost, because we are there. We are the specialists. We will make sure that the system works well, the quality will improve, but the investment will be done just what is necessary to achieve this target. This is a win-win-win situation we have been able to build together in
Bayonne.
In Bayonne, yes.
Talk about drought.
You have, we can speak about the states, of course, but we can speak also the whole planet. Probably in less than 20 years' time, 40% of the population, world population, will live in drought areas. So the water scarcity is going to be at the top of the agenda in the coming years. It is the case in many parts of the world, China, India, Middle East, Mexico, and in some western part of the states where, like you have seen recently, there is now part of California which is really under water stress. So they have to manage better their water. There is various technical solutions, but everything will go through better knowledge of the water, better management of the water, better technology, and probably at the end of the day, additional water resources through desalination plants, through reuse plants. All that, and we are ready.
And Suez is doing
that everywhere, and including in the States if necessary.
Before I let you out of here, we experienced Hurricane Sandy here, right? So people think, oh, okay, so what does this have to do with Suez and United Water and important water-related issues? Make the connection.
You have one very easy to understand. In fact, one of the major issues of tomorrow in big countries like the States, where cities are becoming bigger and bigger, is what we call storm management. And storm management means that during a short period of time, big amount of water or big amount of rain is coming down. So you have to manage huge amount of water in a very short period of time. That can be managed. It's a combination of smart system, more intelligence, more infrastructures, and also more awareness of the people. This is the kind of combination Suez Environnement like to do, like to provide to city like, why not tomorrow, New York.
Absolutely. Jean-Louis Chaussade is the CEO of Suez Environnement Company and connected to our good friends at United Water. First, I want to thank you for being here and also for your support of public broadcasting in this country. And these are important issues, and we greatly appreciate you visiting us here at Lincoln Center at our studio.
Thank you so much. It has been a pleasure for me just to try to explain what my company is doing in the States and elsewhere. Thank you so much.
It impacts all of us. Stay right there. This is the Tisch WNET studio in the heart of Lincoln Center in New York City. We'll be right back right after this.
If you would like more information on this program, or if you'd like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Visit us online at oneonone.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, PhD, and follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
There she is, Dari Alexander, Fox 5 news anchor. You can check her out 5 p.m. She's on with Ernie Anastas, and at 10 p.m. with Steve Lacey.
Yes.
Hey, we've been wanting to get you in the studio for a long time.
It's good to be here.
Good to be. I see. It's usually the other way around.
Yes, this is very strange for me because I'm always asking you all the questions. You're always educating us about everything that's going on.
Just about a little politics.
Politics, lots of things that correspond to life.
Yeah, more importantly, we have you here. By the way, can we plug Dari's book? Because she's not just a great news anchor and reporter, but we got this, Bob? The Quick and Clean Diet. Lose the weight, feel great, and stay lean and for life. By the way, people don't know that you are a trained chef in New York and Paris?
Yeah.
What, in your spare time?
No,
when did that happen?
So many years ago. I always loved to cook. And I just thought, for a little while, I thought I was going to go to law school when I got right out of school, because my brother's an attorney, my father's an attorney. And I thought I was going to do that. And I was actually working in the DA's office and was kind of like, ugh, I don't know if this is it for me. And I started taking some cooking classes at night, and I loved it. And then I enrolled into French Techniques program and went through that, and I just was so happy, and it was so awesome. And then I went to Paris and took some pastry classes, and I just loved it. And I thought, oh, well, maybe I'll do something with this. And then I kind of chickened out and thought, oh, maybe I need to do something that's like, I don't know, more traditional and standard. And I was always a news junkie, always a news junkie, no matter what. So I thought, maybe I'll look into this.
You grew up right here in New York.
I grew up in the city.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, so many amazing things happen in the city, good and bad, news-wise. And it's always exciting. I knew I was definitely not the type of person who wanted to sit behind a traditional desk. Now I sit behind a news desk, but, you know, the regular office desk and be, you know, surrounded by four walls and be by myself all day. So I thought, I want to be out and about. I want to be covering stories. And I love the fact that every single day, something different is headlining.
But the business has changed in so many ways. You started out at News 12 Long Island, and you go around the country. Name the places, because I looked here.
So
I
was a
Texas,
reporter.
Ohio, Illinois, West Virginia. Did I get that right?
West Virginia, yes. Iowa. You forgot Iowa. Excuse me, I lived in Davenport, Iowa. Yes.
Is that what you have to do to come back to be a star in New York?
Yes, it's like being a roadie. It's like being, you know what? It's like having a band and wanting to play Madison Square Garden someday. But you have to start in those, you know, little places, those little podunk towns where you are doing your gig. It's the same thing. A singer, a dancer, it's all the same.
What's it like to do the news twice a night, right here, the #1 market in the country, in this environment, in the social media environment? Because when I've been on set with you, again, I just do political analysis. This is obviously a very different job. Public broadcasting, we're not here to have opinions, we're here to ask questions.
Right.
But I sit there and watch. You are not, people think you're a news, you're an anchor, you're reading. No, Dari's working 10 different things, getting information.
Tweeting.
Yes.
We are getting tweets. People are informing us about things. I mean, forget it, when breaking news happens, you know, we've got the AP wires and Reuters and all that stuff, but we're getting tweets from people.
You're a reporter, researcher, producer, right on the desk.
Absolutely. We're copy editing stuff because stuff happens so fast now. They don't have time. This is not the old school way of the anchor where it's like, as soon as I get a script in there and I put it in the teleprompter, you can read about this breaking news. It's like, no, there's a shooting at a mall in New Jersey. The SWAT team is there. It's crazy. There are people inside. We think the guy is still inside. Go. And we'll let you know. Just go. And I worked at the Fox News Channel. I moved from Dallas to the Fox News Channel. And so 24-hour cable news is kind of where I really got my training as far as that is concerned. And that is super, super, super intense. So when I came over to Fox Local, it wasn't so difficult for me to do that because I had been used to doing it. And it's a lot less time because you're still pretty much within the confines of a 1-hour show, because that's what I do. When you're in cable news, it's like they sit you down and you may not get up for 5 hours. Now, that with saying, when there's a hurricane like Sandy, we were doing the same thing. We were sitting down for 7 hours.
And you covered 9/11.
And I covered 9/11. And then I went to Afghanistan. I covered Daniel Pearl, the beheading of the Wall Street journalist. You know, he was beheaded. It was horrible, and it was shown online. I went over to Pakistan and covered that trial. So, yeah, I've definitely done my rounds. But yes, in today's environment, it is just like, go. You just speak. And so, along with that, there is obviously, we live in the kind of environment where people catch things, they see everything played out. It's pretty much like a reality show on the desk. So if you say something wrong, if you screw up, it's all right there. People catch it, you know.
It's so interesting. Sorry for interrupting, Dari. No. But you had the experience at the Fox News Channel, and you didn't have an opinion show. You're always an objective.
Right. I did Fox News Live Hours.
Different.
Right.
But you know what's interesting? I always wondered about this with you.
Yeah.
Because when I've been there with you and Ernie, it is the commentator, the analyst's job to do analysis. Mm-hmm. But I'm sitting there thinking, Dari's got all kinds of information. You're holding back on analysis, and you're holding back on your opinion, per se, because it's not your job. Is that hard?
It is. It's very hard, and
because
it's hard. But I have to say, honestly, news is moving away from that. Even
Go ahead.
Not to the point of politics, like you have a mayoral race that happened in November here in New York City. You don't step out that way. We're not that kind of opinion journalism program. But when, say, news of the day, when silly things happen, or there's a viral video, or there's an opinion about somebody throws out something and we do a story about it, and it just seems like it's really dumb. Like, say, a parent is doing something and it just seems ridiculous. It's impossible to hold back, particularly because I'm a parent. And we kind of let our opinions in that way. So the audience knows we're alive. They know we're thinking people. But when it comes to really hardcore things, like voting and stuff like that, we don't go there.
Talk to me about juggling.
It's hard.
I don't mean juggling in the circus.
I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
Because we talk about kids all the time. Talk about that.
Yes, I never belonged to the circus, but my life is a circus. It's really hard. I mean, listen, I can't say anything. There are mothers and fathers who work 2-3 jobs. This is a great gig, and I'm not even saving lives. So I'm informing people, but I really can't complain. I'm super fortunate. It is not easy. Nothing's easy.
Describe your mom life.
We don't live in easy times right now. My mom life is that I do evening shows, so I go in early afternoon, and I see my kids in the morning, basically, for about 20 minutes. I get up with them, move them through to get them out of the house. Sometimes I take them to school. Sometimes babysitter will take them to school, and then they're gone. And then they're gone. And I do other things, whatever kinds of responsibilities I have. And then I don't see my children awake until the next morning.
But you love your work and you love your life.
I love my work and I love my life, and I feel very stimulated. And a lot of women have told me, women who've come before me, who decided not to work at all, that in some ways they were a little bit resentful and they didn't feel like they were contributing to society in the way that they wanted to. And some of them held it against their children. I think it's incredibly noble to stay home with your kids. And it's an amazing, amazing thing. And sometimes I wish I could do it. But I think that my kids appreciate me because I have a lot that I can bring to the table. And they think it's really cool. And
you brought a lot to public broadcasting. And by the way, in her spare time, just wrote this book.
Sometimes I stay up until 5 o'clock in the morning.
We'll talk off the air. Thanks, Dari. You're the best.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating 25 years of broadcast excellence in partnership with St. Joseph's Healthcare System. This special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center. Funding has been provided by Barnabas Health, St. Peter's University, United Water, Qualcare Inc., New Jersey's Credit Unions, Johnson & Johnson, and by the law firm of Gibbons PC. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.